Good morning, Wrestle Talk Show fans, and welcome to another installment of Wrestle Talk Show. I am your host, Joshua Zimmerman, and today's topic, the fate of Monday Night Raw. Let me get the particulars out of the way and thank our YouTube following, our Facebook following, and anyone that follows us. As over the last week, we've seen a great improvement in demographics. 15 to 18% of our viewers now are female, and a new demographic of 32 to 54 has been put into the mix. So people even older than the targeted demographic are paying attention to this product. That again lets me know that what I do for educational purposes and for my own entertainment, and for more importantly you, so you don't so you're not content with the smoke and mirrors in professional wrestling, because again, it's not that hard. uh, it's hard to survive, but once you get the groundwork down and get your stability, as WWE has had for years, it's stability. So they can't say, oh, they can't pull a TNA, oh, we're new, or our product got stale. They've been around for years. They know what they're doing. They pay writers hundreds of thousands to write. And this goes back to what I said in a previous video, but I'm going to give you a couple of statistics first. What you might not have known is that September 20th and this past Raw, September 27th, were both taped, even though the 920 show was announced to the television crowd as live, even though it wasn't. Both shows were on at least a 1 hour tape delay. So that raises my question immediately. Uh, do they not care anymore what they put on TV for you? All we are wrestling fans. All we want to see is straight up wrestling with storylines that make sense and come to a conclusion that makes sense. Do they not care? Do they have so much money that they think, what? Are we headed for some downtime? Are we that careless about it? Why even bother doing a show if you weren't going to give it your all, especially a staple like Monday Night Raw? Um, 927 Raw scored the lowest rating in nearly 13 years of 2.37. Just to give you some statistics here at a glance, the 7-4 of 2004 Monday Night Raw scored a 2.60. Christmas of '06 scored a 2.70, no particular order by the way. 7:30 of '07 scored a 2.5. 12:24 of that same year scored a 2.5. 12:31 of that same year scored a 2.60. And here we are at our 13-year marker. 10/27/1997 Monday Night Raw scored a 1.7. And 13 years ago, there was a legitimate gripe there. Well, there was a legitimate excuse, um, because it was competing with Starcade and World Championship Wrestling, and that was their staple pay-per-view, as WrestleMania is to World Wrestling Entertainment. Um, and just to go on, just to kind of go on a rant about this a little bit. Why? Why bother? Why not just pull a TNA? They've been around for so many years. Why not just say we're gonna give the roster 2 weeks off if they're really not going to use their writing abilities to the best of their ability? If I were Vince McMahon right now, I'd be asking some of the writers if I could get some of my money back, because yes, there were different products, but that's why it scored a 2.37, folks. Nobody watched it. The Packers and the Bears were on. Nobody cared. Not as much, I shouldn't say nobody, but not as many people as Raw normally gets, a 3.0 and or better. Better being the operative word. It usually scores 3.5 or better on any given Monday. So what do you think? I'm putting the question out there. Our key focus is Monday Night Raw, but I will move into news bits and rumors in just a moment. One will kind of turn into a sub-subject, a subtopic of this main topic here. Um, Do you think that World Wrestling Entertainment just doesn't care anymore? It's getting kind of stale to begin with, where you have John Cena taking on the Nexus, Sheamus and Randy Orton go at it, Hell in the Cell coming up. When it was originated, there was actually a feud that merited the match, that needed to see a Hell in the Cell match to resolve the storyline. But now it's just a pay-per-view that whoever's feuding gets a Hell in the Cell. I don't necessarily agree with this. I liked it when Hell in the Cells were exclusives. It was kind of like if you've seen a steel cage match on Monday Night Raw, you were 10 years ago, you were kind of hoping for the best and you knew you were going to get it. Now it's not like that anymore. It's not like that at all. Secondly, news bits and rumors. Eric Bischoff thinks that direct chair shots to the head are okay. He's quoted as saying, yeah, it's bad, but where do you draw the line? We more or less have to entertain the fans, and who gives a fuck if these guys are taking metal chairs directly to the head? If you recall Royal Rumble of 1995, The Rock versus Mankind, while Mick Foley's own family, wife, son, and daughter were in attendance, he took an upwards amount of 15 direct chair shots to the head just to sell the match. They weren't even really necessary. At any given point, Mick could have fell over and sold any one of those umpteen chair shots. I might be wrong about the 15, but I think it was specifically noted for how many he did in fact take. Here again, what do you think? Eric Bischoff seems to think that we need direct chair shots, and more or less we need to put these workers at risk in order to sell the product. Anyone who's in professional wrestling knows that as the chair's coming to you, you put your hand up and you can sell it from there. Your fans know it's fake. They're not looking for you to prove that it's real. So to put a wrestler further in danger, that comment itself is ignorant, and Eric Bischoff has always been ignorant. It's kind of like saying, don't care about these guys. They're making money, and they'll do what I tell them to do for the sake of entertainment. In the same breath, the argument can be made, well, yeah, these guys do know what they're doing, but at what point do we say you can... The object of wrestling, as I've said before, is to sell a good story, a believable story that everyone interested can follow, and that everyone knows at the end is going to have an airtight conclusion where everything that's been going on the last couple of weeks, months, or however long the storyline goes comes to a neat, wrapped up conclusion, and everyone's happy that the feud is resolved. So at what point do you go from storytelling to mutilating a person just for ratings? And this jumps right into what I was saying about Monday Night Raw and wrestling in general, is that most of these writers on Raw, and I can't speak for TNA, but it's safe to assume since they're copying everything else off of WWE, most of the writers on WWE's payroll are not wrestling writers anymore. They're entertainment writers. So when they write a product or a spot or a storyline, whatever the scenario, they're not doing it for the wrestling value. They're doing it for the ratings value. And you might say, Josh, what's the problem with that? Everybody needs ratings. But yes, wrestling was making ratings on its wrestling 10 to 15 years ago, and less time than that. You've got a clause in WWE where blading is damn near banned, and they don't like to see blood, but you can smack a guy around with a folding metal chair, go for it. He'll be alright. When it's proven that these are leading to long-term, the same with that, and I'm not being biased, it's the same with NFL, hockey, any other contact sport you can think of where your head might get involved in your business. It's becoming a long-term injury, and there's doctors have said there's no way to measure the exact effects of these chair shots. All they can say is that if you can sell it by putting your hand up to your face like this and selling it after the chair comes down, then that's all the fan needs to see. The fan knows the product's fake. We got it. We got it back in 95, 97, whatever that was, when Vince had to come clean. We get that it's fake. What I don't like is that Eric Bischoff basically says it's a necessity to sell the product, and it's not. When I turn on TNA and I see RVD smacking somebody around with a chair or throwing a chair at somebody repeatedly, why? RVD, you built yourself on your maneuverability in the ring, your move set, and you're Rob Van Dam the whole fucking show. The whole effing show, whatever adjective you want to use. But why are chair shots suddenly a necessity, but blood that we used to get the dramatic effect and feel from that could easily accomplish the same thing you're trying to accomplish with these chair shots, which is selling the feud, is banned. World Wrestling Entertainment becomes PG, and if you see wrestling, it sucks. Well, not wrestling. It's rated PG. Well, yeah, wrestling sucks, but tell us something we don't know. It's PG, and you can smack a guy around with a chair, but you can't bleed. Explain it to me. You can give this guy a damn near concussion, but God forbid he bleeds on your mat and sells it the same exact way, again, that a chair shot would. So, I ask you, the fans, where do you think we should draw the line? I like the mix of the both bags myself. Did I agree with the Royal Rumble and examples such as that? No, I did not. Do I think you can sell the same dramatic effect without actually hitting the person? Yeah, I do. I do a lot. And it all reverts back to, well, with Eric Bischoff at least, I can't speak for Vince right now because they never like to comment on anything now, especially with Linda actually getting closer to Senate than they thought. It's actually a pretty close race. You won't see anything out of character or anything that Vince doesn't approve until this election is won. I hate to break it to you, but it comes full circle right here. Why even bother giving us those 2 Raws if your writers weren't going to give us their all? Why bother? Pull a TNA. Give the guys 2 weeks home. You know, cancel 2 weeks worth of product if you're having a scheduling conflict or whatever the scenario was. Why bother if you're not putting the effort into it anymore? We bitch at TNA for this, and I'm going to come right back at you with the same thing. Why bother? In regards to the chair shots, I think I've spoken enough about it, but I'll just reiterate here before we wrap up, because I do want to make this as, you know, a one-parter. I think these wrestlers, especially if you looked at my last couple videos, especially the ones from last night, these wrestlers are in enough danger. These wrestlers are dropping like flies to begin with. There's no need to hit them with things just to get a rise out of the crowd. Put the hands up, guys. You can sell it once the chair comes down. Nobody sees the hand once the chair's and if they do, they understand how the move works. They understand how a chair shot gets sold in the middle of a ring. So again, why put your workers further at risk? And the answer seems to be because they can. All this video and the 2 others from last night, the one for Matt Hardy explaining his recent downfall in WWE and his complaints, can be found on WrestleTalkShow.webs.com. Follow us on YouTube as well as Facebook. And again, we thank you for your support and hope that you continue to enjoy our material as I enjoy putting it out and we enjoy putting it out. But until next time, again, WrestleTalkShow.webs.com. Send all show feedback to cwecompany@gmail.com. Talk to you later.